Hello and welcome to my final project, which is an online instructor training module for Athens Technical College. Now, to begin this training module, I presented some scenarios, a couple of scenarios to be specific, and this is the first scenario. The first scenario introduces Mr. Dan Banks. He is a business management instructor at Athens Tech for 5 years, has won Instructor of the Year 2 years in a row. And because he's such a good instructor, there are more students signing up for his class than the maximum class capacity. So Mr. West is willing to take on more students, but this time it's going to be an online evening class. Mr. West is very savvy with computers. So the question is, does he need an online training before he takes on this venture? Then we have Dr. Caroline Jones. She just completed a PhD program and will be teaching consumer economics at Athens Tech. She has 1 year teaching experience, which stems back from when she was a teaching assistant at UGA. She was hired solely as an instructor, an online instructor. So she is quite familiar with online classes because as a student, she took some online classes herself. So she's quite familiar with the whole process. So the question remains, does she also need an online class before she starts? And to answer this question, the answer is yes. And the reason being that there are new and emerging techniques that both of them have to be abreast with. There are changes to online teaching platforms at different times. Teaching online is quite different from teaching face to face, and above all, there is always an opportunity to learn. So this project delves into the three objectives. I mean, it shows the introduction of what an online is all, and the online, or as they call distance learning, is all about. Then introduces the three main objectives, which is facilitating an online class. There's collaborative learning tools to get the students engaged, and then evaluating students' performance. And from there, it takes you onto the three main modules, and the modules are built solely from the objectives. So each objectives is based on each module is based on an objective. So the first one is, the first module is facilitate an online class. The second one is applying collaborative learning tools. The third one is evaluating students' performance. Then introduces what an online class is all about. It goes on to the requirements of an online class. And so after knowing all this, the question is, so what is next? Then as an instructor, you have to know that, okay, it's not just about going into class and knowing who your what an online class is all about. One thing you need to know is, who are your learners? Because different people will be coming into the online platform, and you have to know who they are and how you can teach them. So these are the different kinds of learners, and each of these ones will take you into a scenario. So an example, you have the new versus the experienced. So it presents a scenario, and then it presents, different all these scenarios, and then also the solutions on how to address each scenario. So that is how it goes from there. So these are different scenarios that it's presenting here. So if you have a student who perhaps is not motivated, this one is scenarios based on motivation, and you don't know what the student is thinking, but you have to know that it is your duty, or it is your role as an instructor to make the class very relevant to students, to get them motivated, and so that they don't log you off because you cannot see what they are doing behind the screen. You can only relate to them by how they correspond in class. You are not there to see them face to face. So then it takes you to your role as your instructor. As an instructor, these are the different roles. So these roles identifies all these roles, and then what I call the don'ts. So the don'ts will also tell you, and then these roles also have scenarios behind them, and then what you have to do as an instructor. How do you call it? So these are the various scenarios that I have. You have to familiarize yourself with the platform based on each role. And then these are the don'ts. So it also addresses the don'ts. So the don'ts, the things that you don't have to do, because the students will literally log you off if or tune out if you are not, getting them engaged. So know how to teach an online class. And at the end of each, it presents how do you call it? It presents a quiz for you to do to make sure that learning has taken place. And then the next one is the strategies for teaching. So these are just the basic strategies for teaching an online class, what you need to do before, during, and then after the class. And then it addresses the universal design of learning and what it's all about. And the universal design of learning is basically about making learning equitable to all. You have the principles, because you'll be having students who are disabled, you're having students who are matured, you're having students with different learning types. So you have to be able to make sure that learning takes place, but at the same time not reducing the how do you call it, the level of teaching. You don't want to downgrade your teaching. You want to make sure that it's up to date, but at the same time it's equitable for all. So it addresses all these ones. And then the strategies for universal design of instruction, it goes into that as well. And then it has some recommendations for you. So basically this is the whole project on